Is up? D12. I'm back. I'm at it again. It is now 1:45 in the morning on Labor Day. It's alright. I'm here for you guys. We're up to number 4. And I should start this by saying that number 4 and number 5, San Antonio Stampede and the Carolina Aviators, are super, 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 super close to each other. I mean, they're in the same division. On all the percentages that I spit out, whether it's the probability that they finish with 7 wins, for the place probabilities that I spit out, if it's the probability that they finish exactly 6th at the end of the regular season, all the other futures probabilities that I spit out at the bottom, for example, the probability that they make a wild card, every single one of those probabilities that are on that sheet. So, there's 14, it's 12, it's 26, and I think I got like 10 at the bottom. So all 36 of those probabilities, San Antonio and Carolina are within 3% of each other on every single one of those. So the difference between the Stampede and the Aviators is razor thin. So start off with a theme song. Maybe you don't recognize this one. They're kind of a forgotten boy band that was, a step below your BSBs, your NSYNCs, and probably a step below 98 Degrees yet. I know that I'm bringing a lot of you guys back. That was O-Town, All or Nothing. And that's how I think that Andy, the San Antonio Stampede, is going to approach this season. He wants it all or nothing at all. So if we get close to the trade deadline, if he's tied with Chris, well, if he's tied for the lead, doesn't have to be Chris, it could be Jordan. I see him going for it this year. If he's a couple games behind the division, I think that he packs up and he reloads for next year. He sells off some of his expiring contracts. Maybe he sells off Aaron Rodgers. But one way or the other, I think that Andy is going to be a major player come the trade deadline. So that's my prediction. That's why I chose All or Nothing for his theme song. All right, quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, stud. Nothing to be said about that. Now, he is paying him $90 for the next 2 years. I think that the second highest quarterback contract is like 55, which is Matthew Stafford. How do I have these sorted? Oh, I gotta sort. Hang on. We're doing it live. Oh, yeah, I don't know who the next most expensive quarterback is after that. So he's paying him a ton. Arguably the number 1 quarterback in the league, though. Behind him, he has Joe Flacco. There's just a tiny little bit of a gap between Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. So if something was going to happen to Rodgers, San Antonio would be hurting. Easily the strength of his team, the deepest part of his team is the wide receivers. Nuke, DeAndre Hopkins, stud. Sammy Watkins, could be a stud. Jeremy Maclin, Jordan Matthews, John Brown, they're all about the same, if you ask me. All very, very, very good players. So that's 5 wide receivers right there. Hopkins, the clear-cut number 1 in Houston. They've revamped their system there. Brock Osweiler is unproven, but you know what? He can't be any worse than Brian Hoyer and Brandon Weeden and the other junk that they were throwing out there last year, where Nuke was just fine. Houston did bring in a couple other weapons in the passing game. They did bring in Lamar Miller, so maybe volume-wise, as far as targets, Hopkins comes down, but I think that overall, he's not going to be negatively impacted too hard on that. Sammy Watkins is playing in Buffalo. Uh, he's a great dynasty guy. Maybe this is his breakout year. I don't have his stats in front of me. I mean, he was pretty good last year, but another year with Tyrod. Maybe he busts out this year. Jeremy Maclin, the greatest wide receiver that the Chiefs have had in my memory. Trying to think if there's any other ones. Because, I mean, the wide receivers were dog crap garbage there for a while. So, Maclin, very, very good play. I would put Matthews over Maclin myself. But again, these are just Yahoo's order. Matthews, Philly did lose Sam Bradford. So it's either going to be Carson Wentz or Chase Daniel that's starting in Philly. Could hurt Matthews. But Matthews should be the number one target easily out in Philly. And then John Brown, a lot of mouths to feed in Arizona. All three of those guys, Fitzgerald, Brown, and Floyd, did fine last year when they all played with each other, as well as David Johnson. A lot of firepower down in Arizona, and I see John Brown still having a pretty good year down there. And then even after those five guys on his bench, he still has Kelvin Benjamin, who had a fantastic rookie year, is coming off an injury, but getting work with Cam Newton. And then some flyers on, did I miss anyone up there? Some flyers, Ruben Randall, okay, he could probably be dropped, but Malcolm Mitchell, if he's starting in New England, that's a great play. Terrell Pryor, he's shown some flashes here in preseason, and then Rashad Green is in Jacksonville, but that's 6 top 20 wide receivers, depending on how you feel about, maybe not top 20, maybe 6 top 25 wide receivers. He's deep. He's got fantastic guys there at wide receiver. Jumping down to running back, Adrian Peterson. It's back. Still a top 5 play for this year, and at this point, that's all that really matters. I believe he's on the last year of his contract, so he doesn't really care. Yep, 1 year on that contract. LaShawn McCoy. Can you trust him to stay healthy? Also in Buffalo, so he's got McCoy, and he has Watkins up there in Buffalo. Not the most high-powered offense out there, but as long as he's healthy, McCoy is going to get his touches. He did also have Carlos Williams, who was McCoy's handcuff, but Carlos, bye-bye. Then behind those two, didn't make his starting lineup, is Matt Forte, who probably won't be quite as good this year as he was in recent years. And then I guess it does get pretty thin after that. Kenyon Drake is the 4th running back in Miami right now, maybe the 3rd. Devontae Booker is behind only CJ, so that could be a good play. Sean Drone, and then Darren Sproles, PPR monster, could easily fill in bye weeks and not lose a whole lot there. So, again, deep. Got some really good guys at the top, and very deep. Then we do get to his question marks, and depending on who you ask, Ertz, maybe he's top 5. He's never really done it before, though, and that's who Durs is going to roll out as his number 1 tight end, probably week in and week out. So he's unproven. But then behind Ertz, he also has Jared Cook, who gets to catch passes from Aaron Rodgers. It's been a while since Rodgers has had a good tight end to throw to. Richard Rodgers, not that guy. Jermichael Finley showed some glimpses like 5 years ago, but this is the Packers' best catching tight end since Jermichael Finley, and Jared Cook could be in the line for a decently large year this year, maybe even surpasses Zach Ertz. And then behind those two guys, we also have a Richard Rodgers sighting. So if Green Bay does decide upon a tight end, they will be on Andy's team. If Ertz does falter down the line, we could see one of those guys being a contributor. So because Durs has the depth, he can make some moves later on. He does have some nice guys on the last year of their contract. Macklin, last year of the contract. Peterson, last year of his contract. John Brown, last year of his contract, I think. Yeah, so he could go that direction. He he could trade some of his younger guys to help bolster it for this year if he is looking to make a deep playoff run. We look over at his wins futures. Looks very similar to what we saw with Carolina. All of the money lines there for the futures that you see, very similar to Carolina. The main difference between Carolina and San Antonio is that San Antonio can sustain a couple injuries and still be a contender. Carolina cannot do that. I still see San Antonio being a step behind the top three. So there was a big gap between 6 and 5. I see a pretty big gap between 3 and 4 as well, or 4 and 3 as well. Maybe one of the two between San Antonio and Carolina joins the upper echelon while the other one falls off. I think that San Antonio has the better chance of joining up there. And it's not just what Yahoo tells me. It's how I feel about the team, about the depth, and what I see going forward. So, only 3 teams remain. We'd know who they are. It's the champ. It's the only team to go undefeated in an entire season, including the playoffs. And then it's a guy that's never won a playoff game before. So, and you already know what the order is. I'm not spoiling anything there. So, yeah. Maybe Wednesday I'll get to those 3. Maybe before then. We'll have to see what. So, I will see you guys soon, though. For sure. Peace.